Alright folks, I'm going to go for a ride in the Luscombe. Now some people have asked for a more forward view, not showing the bald spot at the back of my head. It's okay, I've repositioned the camera and we're going to see how that happens to work today. Hopefully it works fine. Nice day to fly, except it's really hot out. It's currently about 91 degrees. As you can probably see from the sky looks a bit on the hazy side, and that's because of smoke from the wildfires in California making it all the way to Iowa. So, here we go. Every day is a beautiful day to fly. Currently flying over a little town. Little coal mining town in Iowa where my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather lived. They worked the underground coal mines down in here. So, in about a minute I'm going to be crossing over where my great-grandfather used to live, and he also was a coal miner. Wrote a book about the experiences of working in an underground coal mine, and it was not pretty. Let me take a quick diversion over here to the right, and I'm going to take you over to a place.
And Iowa 6 traffic, 17 uniform run right base for runway 12, Iowa 6.
Alright, dead ahead, right off the nose at 12 o'clock is where we had our family farm for a while. And so we farmed right here. Turning to the right, coming directly off the nose, you'll see kind of like a little quarter, and then there's a building sitting there. That's where my mother actually went to high school. She was the first in her family that actually finished high school. The high school is no longer there, but the history remains. Now as we're up here in the Luscombe, I've got to tell you how much I really love flying this Luscombe. I've had a lot of people that have said to me, Matt, why is it that you like flying something that's like 75 years old or older? You know, you've got to hand crank it, hand prop it. It's an old airplane, it's a taildragger. I tell you what folks, there's nothing that can beat this. This is a fun airplane to fly. It is an honest airplane, and you can just get up here. I can cruise around and get a fuel burn of about 3.6 gallons per hour. And besides, you can easily just get this thing to literally turn on a dime. Like I said, an extremely honest airplane. It will do what you ask it to do. And I feel that Luscombes have kind of an unfair an unfair type of reputation. People say that they're squirrely, that they like to ground loop a lot. It just comes down to skill and being able to fly these things. I mean, look, I can roll this thing right out. It behaves exactly the way that you want it to behave. One thing that I'll say about flying a Luscombe, and when I'm introducing people to a Luscombe, is it's really sensitive on the rudder. When you give this thing rudder, it does exactly, again, what you tell it to do. So I can be flying along here. If I needed to slip it because let's say that I suffered an engine failure, I could just go ahead, pull it over really hard into a slip, and she's going to be really just fine. Talking about yaw, if you do not use your rudder, if you don't follow that ball, you can get into trouble. Example, I'll just do an aileron to the right. That's no rudder at all. Aileron to the left. So you need to be able to fly this thing coordinated. But a Luscombe is a great airplane, I love them. I've flown other tail draggers, and this one by far is my favorite. I'll take you around the north shore of Red Rock. First, I'm going to point you in the direction of a town you might have heard of before. So, off the nose at the 12 o'clock position is a town called Pella. Pella is famous for what is called tulip time every year. Pella was settled by Dutch back in the late 1800s. Now I just crossed over the Des Moines River. Funny thing is, this was built back in the 1960s, and this completely changed our environment. We did not used to see waterfowl here. We didn't see ducks. We did not see geese on a regular basis. All that has changed. So now you have plenty of ducks, plenty of geese, pelicans, which as you're flying along you want to watch for them because pelicans are clearly a flight hazard, but so are geese, but pelicans are huge. And then with them we've also got a bunch of seagulls. So that's one thing, one example of how something man-made changed the ecosystem. And also, since I've been kind of doing this as a trip down memory lane, directly at 12 o'clock, past that little sliver of water, is where my mother lived from 1978 until she passed away. Got a lot of fond memories. We used to do a lot of fishing out here. Always helped Mom with her garden and stuff. It was great. I love small town Iowa. Well, I just picked up the weather for the airport, and we're looking at a crosswind. So I've got 40 degrees of a quartering crosswind to the right, and the winds are 8, gusting to 16 knots. Interesting thing is I know a lot of people will fly tricycle gear aircraft, or they won't fly trikes in this kind of wind because they think that it's too windy. When I started flying, it was back in the 1970s, and we were just used to wind when it came to getting trained in tail draggers. We were taught how to do wheel landings because of the wind. So the wind really does not bother me. You just simply have to be proficient, especially in a tail dragger, especially in something like this Luscombe. Proficiency, I can't stress enough. I fly a lot of hours in a year in this Luscombe, so I never want to get behind the airplane at all. Some of this approach is going to be annotated because I'm going to go through my checklist and everything, and I'm just not going to throw that out here because this is not flight instruction. This is just simply a guy out sharing his passion of flying and hoping that this can inspire other people to get involved with aviation.